Me. I don't know what happened. Steve, what's going on, everybody? Yummy Fudge in the house? Steve, you are the man. We can start now because you and Yummy Fudge are here. Utah. You're working on your NAS servers in the background. Awesome. I have to update mine. Synology firmware. I have not done that. And I also have to get a... I have to get it all on the same network. Right now I've got, it's too disjointed. I need to get one bridge or whatever you would call it. But we got Laurel in the house. Yes. Laurel, I was just talking to Robert from Omaha. And now we've got Laurel from Omaha, or Laurel in Omaha. He gave me a call. He said he's got some pointers on navigating the code. And I want to see if we can talk about a little bit of that. So navigating the code is very critical and very important. Hey, to Jason Doty, happy Tech Tuesday, brother. Hopefully you are all is well with you. I was with Palmer last week. We were doing a training class over in Portland, Oregon, on 70E. So I was thinking about you. Your name came up a couple of times. Michael Hofkin in the house. I'm going to be out to see you soon, I believe. I think is it next week? Is it next week? A week after next? Not next week. When is it? I can't remember, but I'm going to come out and see you. It can't be next week because I'm at IEEE Electrical Safety Workshop. All right. Michael Hofkin and Yummy Fudge. Give me a call if you want. Yeah, you know what? You have to shoot me an email with your number. I don't know if I have it. I probably do, but it's somewhere. Laurel. Looking forward to the pointers. Yes. All right. So let's... Okay, now that Nihad's here, he may be late, but he is worth the wait. So I know it's been crazy, and we're getting it together. So let's talk about, so what I'm focusing this in on is Chapter 4. So Tom, why did you focus on Chapter 4? I don't know. Why do I do anything? Someone said... if you're going to do that, you must be crazy. And I was like, well, I am crazy, and let's talk about doing that. So, but in any case, it's, hey, David, what are you doing here? Okay, you're on another presentation at this time with Corey, Hannah, and Dean about minimizing risk exposure and improving reliability with electrical cycle of safety, but you know where it's important, brother. Thanks for joining in. I really appreciate all of you joining in on these. Oh, March 18th at the Benjamin Franklin. So everybody out there, I'm going to be with Michael Hofkin on March 18th at the Benjamin Franklin chapter of the IAEI, and I can't wait for that to see my buddy, Mr. Hofkin. All right. Okay. Yes, very grateful for On Demand. Just remember, everybody, all of our sessions are recorded and they are on our IAEI YouTube site, so please tune into that. You can always go back and look, and if there's something you want to pause, re-listen to, did he really say that? I can't believe he said that. You can always go back and get that done. All right, so now... I had somebody ask me why Chapter 4. I got an email and they were like, "Hey Tom, looking forward to Chapter 4, but why Chapter 4? What happened to Chapters 1, 2, and 3? And oh, by the way, did you know about Article 90?" Yeah, I know. And why Chapter 4? I don't know. I think it's because it's equipment for general use. So, and my whole point of this session really. I'll tell you the stimulus for this. Somebody had called me and asked me a question about where in the code can I find. They called me. They said, "Where in the code can I find the requirements on?" I wish I could. It wasn't a luminaire. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't. It was something that was. I wish I could remember what it was, but it was something. And so what I do in my head is, and I learned this from people much smarter than me. Probably many of them watch this video. It was more than likely at an IAEI meeting or at NTI, National Training Institute with the IBEW. I'm not sure where it was. But the comment that was made to me was, Tom, you have to understand how the code is organized. And if you understand how the code is organized, you can get to a specific area. I can get you into the ballpark. I may not be able to navigate you directly to the seat that you need to be in, but I can get you to the city. I can get you to the ballpark. I can get you in the ballpark and in the right section, right area of the ballpark. And then from there, you can navigate down to the specific requirements. So there is a skill to this. And this is a skill that if you watch people like David Engelhart and Yummy and Jason Doty and others in the industry. Oh, Charles Burkhart is here. Hey, me neither. I can't wait for the 18th. I am with you, brother. But when you see those individuals and you can watch the wheels go off in their head, they'll say, well, where can I find the requirements for a luminaire? I'm putting in a light fixture. I'm putting in a luminaire, light fixture, whatever you want to call it. And you say, I want to put that luminaire in what code sections would I follow? Well, number one, you probably know it's a branch circuit. So you would say, well, Article 210, that's a no-brainer. You will probably look at the ratings on the equipment, so Article 110 is going to apply because you have to apply within its ratings, and we can follow navigate the National Electrical Code in that regard. But then you might say, hey, you know what? A luminaire is pretty much like a piece of equipment for general use. So then you would go to Chapter 4, and I think you would, if you think about common equipment, luminaires, industrial control panels, man, my watch is going crazy. Napa Auto Parts wants to sell me something. Appliances, transformers, motors. I mean, it would be hard to say a motor is not equipment for general use. I mean, come on, right? So you can think about, that's a good place to start. If you thought about a piece of equipment that you're installing, you can fall back on, okay, I know there's general requirements in one and 2. Well, Chapter 1 are your general requirements. Chapter 2 is your branch circuits. 215, Chapter 2 has your branch circuit requirements, your feeder requirements, your service requirements, your overcurrent protection. So if you understand what that Chapter 2 covers wiring and protection, you're going to have to land a conductor on there, and 110 are general requirements that apply everywhere. So terminations are going to be in 110, things like that. Following manufacturer's instructions are going to be in 110. So you sort of understand, you can navigate it quickly to identify the articles that may apply. Once you get beyond 1, 2, and 3, remember 3 is wiring and protection, and I am going to sneeze, but if I keep talking about it, I probably won't sneeze. So see, my sneeze has gone away. So Chapter 1 is going to be your general requirements. Chapter 2 are going to be your wiring and protection. Chapter 3, this is where you're going to get to your wiring methods and your materials, right? So you're going to think about what is the conductor that I'm going to apply in this application. I need to determine what is its ampacity, and any other restrictions that might be on that conductor. And if I'm going to put it in pipe or if I'm going to put it in a raceway, then I'm going to go to Chapter 3 to find those requirements. And if it's a piece of equipment in itself, you're going to go to Chapter 4. So Jason says, general plan, build, general. Yeah, plan, build, use Chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes. Yes. So once you get beyond chapter 4, you're getting into special things that are special. You got special occupancies, you have special equipment, and then you have special conditions. So you have occupancies, equipment, and conditions in chapters 5, 6, and 7. So my point is, when you understand pop up 30,000 feet, forget about the minutia of all the different individual requirements. Understand how the code is organized, which is changing. I'm not even going to go there, right, Jason? I mean, it's changing. Then you can determine at least what areas of the ballpark you need to be in. Okay? So for most installations, anywhere where you're going to land a wire, you know you're in 110. That's general requirements. You know you're going to be in chapter 2, whether it be a branch circuit, a feeder, all that jazz, or if it's service equipment, etc. When you get to chapter 3, if it's a wire, you're going to need to determine ampacity. You're going to need to either figure out how you're going to route it. Do I need to put it in a raceway? Can I put it, just string it through the studs of or the joists inside of my walls and in my ceilings and things like that? And then you're going to determine if you have to put it in a raceway, and then, okay, what raceway am I permitted to use in this application? That's chapter 3 stuff. When you get to chapter 4, you're looking at the equipment itself. And now you're looking at either if it's a fixture, if it's a lighting fixture, or a fixture lighting, I would say luminaire, 410. And then you have 402 fixture wires, 400 flexible cords and cables, and then 404 switches. And you might ask yourself, why would flexible cords and flexible cables be in chapter 4 and not be in chapter 3? So you could, because I could see that being a common mistake, right? I mean, I saw Yummy Fudge. Yummy Fudge, he's crossing his fingers. Well, here's the thing, Yummy Fudge. You can cross your fingers, but you got toes too. And if you're not crossing your toes, it ain't going to happen, all right? 400.10 and 400.12. Let's take a look at what he means by 400.10. 400.10 is, okay, so flexible cords and cables. If you look at article, so let's take a look at the article. So let's say you know that you have a flexible cord or cable, and you may have gone to chapter 3 thinking, well, that's a wiring method. Let's take a look at what's the scope say for flexible cords. This article covers general requirements, applications, construction specifications for flexible cords and flexible cables. You might have to go to article 100 and look at definitions and search for flexible cords and see if it's a defined term. Flexible cords. And voila, boula boom, it is. And that's a technical term, voila, boula boom. A cord, flexible cord set, cord countertop, flexible. What the bejeebers? Flexible cord. That I clicked on cord connector. Flexible cord. There it is, flexible cord. 2 or more flexible insulated conductors enclosed in a flexible covering. And it's a CMP 6 thing. 2 or more flexible insulated conductors enclosed in a flexible covering. That would be a flexible cord. How about a cable? Flexible cord, was that a flexible cord and cable? Flexible cords. Let's go down here. Where's my doggy? We really flexible. Go to chapter 4, and I go flexible cords and flexible cables. And I'm looking at fixture wires, thinking, hold on, what's a fixture? I'm not sure if that's right, but I'm going to start with flexible cords and cables. So flexible cords and flexible cables. So if we go back into this and do a search and do flexible cables, we should find a definition for what a flexible cable is. And we don't. We have stage lighting hoist that uses an integral flexible cable. Let's try putting the ends in, the S in. There's no definition for flexible cables. There's no definition. Anyway, we know what a flexible cord is. So, and we know what a cable is, right? Cable is going to be conductors that are assembled into, there's a festoon cable. Is the word cable defined? Cable bundle, optical fiber cable, undercarpet cable, service entrance cable, limited use cable, plenum cables, cable routing assemblies, riser cable, festoon cable, abandoned cable, and service cable, but we don't have what the definition of what a cable is. Well, that's convenient. So in any case, we go back to 400. I think it was 400, right? Yummy fudge, 400. 400, and he was going to 400.10, flexible cords and flexible cords and flexible cables. See, now if I was editing videos, I would have edited that out. 400.10, uses permitted, tells you where you can use flexible cords. So this gives you an idea of whether or not what you're looking at fits into this chapter from a cord perspective. You would see it in pendants, in luminaires, elevator cables, wiring, cranes, and hoists, so it's not just about a luminaire. And then you have uses that aren't permitted as a substitute for fixed wiring, so you can't take that flexible cord or flexible cable and use it as fixed wiring. See? Jake doesn't agree with it either. Where run through doorway, you can't run through doorways or windows or similar openings with it because it doesn't have a protection on the outside. Where attached to building surfaces, you can't attach it, you can't conceal it, and all that jazz. And I did have a really good picture at one point of a luminaire that had a flexible cord that was run behind the wall. And I'm sure everybody has examples of that. So this will give you, once you identify what, the first challenge that we have is to identify what it is we're looking at. That's where defined terms are really critical. And I learned this. I learned this early. I learned this late. If you're watching this and you're under 40, you learned it before I did. Okay. Well, I don't know for sure if I was 40, but I was old. But in any case, once you understand what it is you're looking at, and that's where defined terms may come into play. You might look at that flexible cord that's on a luminaire and say, well, what is that? And as you poke around and try to find a definition for that meets that, we already know cable's not defined, but a flexible cord is. You can better understand that you might be in Article 400 and not in the Chapter 3. I don't know where your head's at on this. I think Don Ganir is out there. Or I don't know where everybody's head's at on this, but I would think, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think flexible cords and flexible cables and fixture wires, these two probably belong in Chapter 3. That's my opinion. Because I would, if I'm looking at a conductor or a cable, I would look at a wiring, I would think that it's a wiring method or material, or a wiring material, because it is a wiring material. So my gut would send me to Chapter 3 so I could understand why you may say, oh, crud, I'm in the wrong article, or I can't find the right article. It's in Chapter 4, flexible cables. Let's take a look. I want to get some comments in here. Hold on. I haven't been watching, I've been talking. So Yummy Fudge, crossing my fingers, 400.10 and 12. Those are your two sections in 400 that tells you where flexible cords can and cannot be used. And then I'm sure we can have debates over that, right? Because then you'll come up with that debate. Is it a flexible cord or is it a flexible cable? Apparently flexible cable is not a defined term. Flexible cord definition is pretty daggone generic. I could even say, if I wanted to, which I don't want to, I could look at NM wire and say it meets the definition of flexible cables because it's multiple conductors in a flexible sheath. I mean, NM cable probably meets the defined term, but then there's, we have NM cable. So, and we have a specific section in Chapter 3 for that. Okay, Yummy Fudge. We had Jason, general plan. We already looked at that. Since fixtures were changed to, yes, to avoid confusion with plumbing fixtures, why do we still have fixture wire? Hallelujah. I agree with you, Dawn, and it didn't make sense when I was first looking at it. So I'm looking at this where it says fixture wires, and you would, now, it's a relatively short article. Well, what's the scope? What's the scope say? This article covers general requirements and construction for fixture wires, but do we know what a fixture wire is? Listed. Okay, there's a table for the fixture wires. All right, here we go. So we do know what a fixture wire is because it's not necessarily defined, but they give us the types of fixture wires. They give us the name, the type of letter, FFH or whatnot, the insulation, and then the size and thickness of insulation, the size of the conductors, all that jazz in this table. So they give us specifically the type letters for fixture wires, but let's see if it's a defined term. Is fixture wire a defined term? 402 capacities. I'm not, well, they don't put these in order, so I wish you could sort these by section number, but I'm looking for an Article 100 definition. I should have went to Article 100 and just searched Article 100. We use the term a lot in the code, but it's not defined. But if we go over here, we can see the wires, but to your point, Dawn, we call them, and I still use the term fixture, but they're luminaires. So should this be a luminaire wire? I like that comment, Dawn. And I believe we just may uncover I'm doing this now, NEC 2029 public inputs. 1, defined terms for fixture wire, not fixture wire. I want this. I think we need a defined term for flexible cable. A defined term for cable. I mean, we don't even have a definition of what a cable is. And then we need to change the title of Article 401? 402. Article 402 to luminaire wires. Luminaire wires? Fixture wires. That's what I would do. I don't know, Dawn. Maybe that's a good public input. Here's what it'll do. And I did this over on panel 4. I stirred the pot a little bit. I suggested that we remove the word solar from Article 690 because it's a photovoltaic system. It's not a solar photovoltaic system. It's a photovoltaic system. So I suggested changing the title. And I know that probably irritated Bill Brooks and a few others. But it still doesn't make sense to me because I can generate electricity from any light source, not just solar light sources. But in any case, good point, Dawn. I like it. Yummy Fudge says this came up in an install of mini splits. It uses a cord between the exterior and interior. Wow, Yummy Fudge. That's a good point. And if you call that conductor between the mini splits a flexible cord or a flexible cable, then you're back to 400.12 saying what can't you do with it, and the use is not permitted says where concealed by walls, floors, or ceilings are located above suspended or dropped ceilings, You can't install it in raceways except as permitted in the code. It has to be protected from physical damage. It can't run through a doorway, window, or a similar opening. And run through holes in walls, structural ceilings, suspended ceilings, drop ceilings, or floors. Wow, yummy fudge. So I'd love to hear some dialogue with the team here. I mean, we got Mr. Ganir. We have some of the most powerful, smart, knowledgeable individuals. Where is Mr. Hofkin right now? Mr. Hofkin, UL, what does UL have to say about that conductor that goes between in a mini split application? Is that a flexible cord? Is it not a flexible cord? I mean, mini split conductor between units. What we're talking about, connecting cables for conductor. Now they call it a cable, connects to the indoor and outdoor. I'm just looking at I just went on the website. That the HVAC company is saying that they always use 14.4 SOOW flexible to use as a connector wire between the outside units and the inside handle units, or do you use NMB? This, I think, what do you guys think? Come on, I'm not the expert on this. That's what you got chat for. I'm not hearing the dings. My watch goes off every time I see a chat come in. So, oh wow, we've got a lot of chats in here. I'm way out of it. David Williams is in the house. We got Kawasaki. Okay, hold on. Oh, where am I at? Where is Yummy Fudge's comment? I got to figure out. I scrolled too far down. This is a good one, guys. Flexible cable. So what do you guys call that wire between, what do you call the conductor that's between those split units? Is that a flexible cable? Is it not? What is it? And Yummy Fudge is saying 400.12. Maybe an assembly of flexible wires. Add the definition. Something like that, yeah. Yeah. Steve, I don't think you can overemphasize the importance of the need for additional cross-references from chapters 1 through 4. Installers and inspectors alike would benefit and avoid errors. I agree with you 100%, Steve. I think that having some pointers or informational notes or something. I know that I think the style manual wants to avoid duplication of requirements. And I know that there's a general philosophy of saying let's reduce the number of pointers throughout the code, but I believe if there are examples of where we are missing things in the field because we didn't realize something was in a different area of the code, I think there's an argument to be made to help for the usability. Now, maybe the new organizational structure will solve that. I don't know. Time will tell. 20 years from now, we're either going to say, thank God we made those changes in the structure of the code during the 2023, 2026, 2029 code cycle. We're either going to say, thank God, or we're going to say, what were we smoking? I don't know. And there's opinions on both sides. I don't have an opinion on it just because I'm like water. If you've ever seen the one little speech from what was his name? Oh man, Bruce Lee. I think it was Bruce Lee made the statement. He says, "You want to be like water. You want to mold to your environment, mold to our environment, and make it work for us." That's my opinion on that one. I I don't think. Where's it at? I don't think. That was Steve. Yummy Fudge says, uses permitted is what got me. What are some of those really mean? Some are hard to define or understand what they mean. That is so when you look at, when you finally get into equipment for general use and you find the article that you're dealing with, you're going to see some common numbering systems. Some of it is driven by the style manual. Some of it is not driven by the style manual. Some of it is just driven by, this is where we need to put it because we want to drive consistency. But Yummy is saying flexible cords in 400.10, it says flexible cords and cables shall be used only for the following. We got pendants, wiring of luminaires, connection of portable luminaires. We've got elevator cables. So those seems pretty straightforward. Appliances where the fastening, means, and mechanical connections are specifically designed. Connection of moving parts where specifically permitted. That's a pretty generic one. So I'm not sure. Yummy. Here's my suggestion. If you have one of those that is kind of vague, bring it up, send it to me and a few others, or we can try to come up with better language to be more explicit, but that's how the code gets better. Dawn says 400.4 gives the types of flexible cords and cables. Yes, we called that up. Thank you, Dawn. Steve says, as I commented earlier, an educated reader expects to be referred. I like it. You're right. So freaking lootly. I love it. Luminaires and pendants are here. Luminaires and pendants. Yes. Flexible cords and flexible cables shall be used only for the following: pendants and wiring of luminaires. Got to be ever so careful about adding notes. References can get pretty messy. I agree with you. Wholeheartedly, and that's why I think when we make the decision to put a reference in or a pointer, we need really good substantiation. We look for common examples of misapplication of the code. If we can improve the usability of the code through a reference, this is my opinion only, not the opinion of IAEI, NEMA, we're getting a phone call. New Oxford, Pennsylvania. Sorry, buddy. Not my opinion, not the opinion of NFPA or the committee members or Eaton or sometimes not even my own opinion, because it didn't start up here. It may have started somewhere else. I don't know. But I'm just sharing you my opinion on these aspects. So if I say I don't like it or I think that this would be a good thing, it's me talking, okay? So I agree with you. You have to be careful, and that's what the process is for. Okay, table 400.4 gives examples of cables that are covered in Article 400.4. So it does, Michael, and that helps considerably. And I think if you look at flexible, that's flexible. If you look at fixture wires, I would expect 402. If I go to fixture wires, I don't have a similar thing for fixture wires. 402.3, yes I do. 402.3 is types. So 400, what did they call it in 400? 400 was 400.4, which is types. So I have a types in the flexible cords and flexible cables, and I have a types in fixture wires, which I would argue are probably, to Don Ganier's point, they're probably luminaire wires, because we don't know what a fixture is anymore. Because it could be a toilet or a commode plumbing fixture. But in any case, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that make that mistake. I have a couple times. So, just kidding. So we know from a general requirements perspective, I would have thought fixture wires, and I would have thought that flexible cords and cables would have been in Chapter 3 because it's a wiring method or material, but apparently it's equipment for general use, so I can understand somebody missing that one. At least you have my sympathy and probably empathy. But you would go to those articles, and then So once you've identified the conductor, say you're looking at a pendant, you say, what are the code requirements for this? And you look in chapter 3, can't find anything, and then you would go to chapter 4, equipment for general use, and you would find fixture wires and flexible cords and flexible cables. Figure out which one of those two articles pertain to your application. Then you, and to give you help to do that, you would look at your dot 3 in fixture wires and your dot 4 in flexible cords and flexible cables, and look at the type letters, compare that to what you have, and now you're in the ball. Now you're not just in the ballpark at that point. You may not be in the pew, but you're in the right row, right? And you have a whole line of pews for the requirements for that application. Other things. So switch. If you think about a switch, let's just look at the other articles, the other article chapter names. You have switches. Now the discussion that you have to have in your mind, which I think we're clearing this up in the next code cycle. If I'm thinking about a light switch, toggle switch versus a heavy duty safety disconnect switch, fusible, non-fusible, all that good stuff. Some people may say, well, no, you wouldn't. If I was looking at switches and I'm thinking about a toggle switch for a light switch, then I would go to 404. And I would be right in the 2023 code cycle and earlier. 2026, not so much right. They're moving some things around. They're going to move those. They're moving those to an article that's being renamed to wiring devices. And they've moved the heavy duty switches into, I believe, 408, I think. I'm not sure. Michael Hofkin. I got more. Hold on. Yes. I got more comments, so hold on. Let's read these. Whoops. Yes, there was a table for them. Yeah, we got that. Oops. Don't beat me to it. Great minds think alike. There we go. Started my noon hour to watch the NFPA webinar. It's Tuesday. IAEI News Live. Absolutely, David. So look, both Davids, David Englehart and David Williams, made the right decision. They're watching with one eye the one webinar, and they're watching with the other eye and listening with both ears to IAEI News Live. Wire, fixture. Is there a definition for wire, fixture? Or is that what you're saying? Mr. Kawasaki. Oh my. Fixture. Let me look at fixture. No, we got luminaire. Okay, no. All right. You're making a joke, aren't you? I knew you were making a joke. Luminaire includes the lamps. It's still a light fixture. Oh, luminaire. Well, there's the luminaire. Oh boy, here we go. A complete lighting unit. So here's what the definition of a luminaire is. Let me show you something. So, a complete lighting unit consisting of a light source, such as a lamp or lamps, together with the parts designed to position the light source and connect it to the power supply. It may also include parts to protect the light source or ballast to distribute the light. A lamp holder itself is not a luminaire. So what's a fixture then? What's a fixture, David? Fixture is not defined. Fixture. I'm in Article 100. We have plumbing fixtures. Luminaire has light. Oh, that's in the enhanced content, which is not an enforceable. I just had this discussion too. Enhanced content is someone else's opinion. It is not code language. It's not voted on. It is no different than my opinion. It's just someone else's opinion. And it's no different than your opinion. I'm a little confused, David. I don't disagree with you. Luminaires include the lamps. It's still a light fixture. I think, let me do a search throughout. 402 ampacities of fixture wires. There's a bracket, fixture wiring in 240. Fixture. There's ampacities for fixture wires, that's 402. So, track lighting, number of fixtures on an individual track. We need to define fixture, David. I believe that would help things, in my opinion. Because I thought we got rid of that term. Dadgummit, how do I click it? I gotta click it once and wait. So, Dawn Ganir says, however, I often use TFFN. What did Tigger used to say? Tigger used to say, ta-ta for now, TTFN, ta-ta for now. That's TFFN. So, not TTFN, TFFN. For industrial 120 volt control systems. All right, so it's the type of fixture wire. Laurel, so glad you've created this space. Perhaps some new definitions in 29 will come out of this. Laurel, we're happy you're here. So thank you for joining in. Jason says, smash that like button. That's Laurel's job to say that. Laurel, what's going on? You gotta be Johnny on the spot. Laurel on the spot. Smash the like button. Thank you. Oh man, it's only 12:42. Okay. I will have to watch the rest later on the YouTube. All right, make it happen. It's listed as SJOW, I think. All right. The cord for a mini split is part of a listed product and installed in accordance with product instructions. Don Ganir got that answer, and I believe you are correct, sir. So the UL standard for mini splits should include requirements for the installation instructions on how to properly install that conductor between the two units. It would be a part of the listed assembly, and the standard will dictate the required instructions that must be included in the listed product. Don Ganir saves the day. And I agree with you 110%, Dawn. Yes, this one really got me thinking. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. Most mini splits are using a TCER cable. Thank you, David. Michael Hoffman, it can be flexible cord, flexible cable, or TCER. So Michael Hoffman's saying that as well. And he needs to see the listing, Mark, for sure. Absolutely. And I would go back, Michael, too. I would go back to the UL standard for that product, because you remember, think about navigating the code. 110.3b. Whoops, I just clicked something. Was it 110.3b? 110? 110. Why is 110.3b ringing my bells? 110. Article 100. I don't want 100. I want 110.3. 110.3b. Why is 110.3b? I just want to make sure I have the right reference, because I've used 110.3 is your examination, and 3b is installation and use. Equipment is listed, labeled, or both, or identified for a use shall be installed and used in accordance with instructions included in the listing, labeling, or identification. So, Michael Hofkin, what you're watching right now, if you are watching this and you're new to the code and new to these applications, you're watching the process of trying to determine what the requirements are. We've identified that we're dealing with well, I call it a luminaire because I thought we got rid of the term fixture. But David brings up a good point and a good question. Is it still a fixture? But we know we're dealing with a light fixture or a luminaire, and we're going to install it. We know we have this cord that is connecting it to the outlet. we have to figure out what that is. So we know that, well, we probably, at least I would have thought it was in chapter 3, and then we find out that it's in chapter 4, and we have to determine, is it a flexible cord or cable, or is it a fixture wire? And then we looked at 400.4, and we looked at 402.3, and then we determined the conductor that we're dealing with. Then we say, okay, what is that application? Then we look at the listing requirement for the product itself. Now, what we're researching here, what we're talking about with Michael Hofkin and Yummy Fudge and David Williams and other, is that conductor that goes between the split units. So now if it's HVAC, let's say, what are the requirements for that? Where would I go? If it's a chapter 4, if we say, well, we think HVAC is a chapter 4 application, then we would go to article chapter 4, and we would look down through the articles in chapter 4. So we would say, all right, how do I get rid of that? I'll take that out. We would say, okay, so we would say, well, it's not a receptacle, it's not a switchboard, it's not an industrial control panel, but I'll put that one on hold, because the unit on the outside, I could argue, is an industrial control panel. 410 is a lamp holder. That's not it. Lighting, voltage, appliances, nope. Fixed electric space heating. No, it's if I'm not mistaken, those split units do heating and air conditioning, and then it's not an electric space heater. It's not a resistance electrode. Fixed outdoor, nope. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Motors. 440, air conditioning and refrigerator equipment. So I would say, okay, now I'm into 440, Article 440 for refrigeration, air conditioning and refrigerating equipment, and this would be, say, an air conditioner. And let me just go down through the rest of these. And so that's where I think that would fit. I would go to Article 440 for that application, and now I'm in the ballpark, right? And then what David and Michael Hofkin all said was, Michael Hofkin pointed out that he needs to look at the listing mark, and he's going to want to go back to, as long as you know, okay, I know it's an air conditioning unit, you would look at the listing mark, you can determine what UL standards those are listed to. You could look up in, by Product IQ, I need my little red board, which is over there. You could go to Product IQ and help understand what are the standards, and look in Product IQ what the requirements are for installation, and see if there's anything that it speaks to with regard to that conductor. And then go to the manufacturer's instructions, but then you would want to look at the requirements in 440 as well. So it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap, so to speak, to arrive upon what the requirements are. So most of the equipment that we're going to apply on a day-to-day basis probably fit in Chapter 4, whether it be generators, air conditioning units, fixed heaters, motors are 440. If you just look at the article numbers and the titles of these articles, you're going to look and say, look, I've got 400 flexible cords. And if you don't have NFPA link, you can't do what I'm doing. You need NFPA link. In my opinion, if you're in the electrical industry, I don't care if you're a design engineer, you're an electrical contractor, you're an electrician, whatever it is, you need to get NFPA link. It's like saying I draw for a living and I don't own a pencil. I mean, you need your tools. This is one of the tools. Either you're going to carry a bunch of books with you, or you're going to have NFPA link available to you. So as you look down through equipment for general use, you got all of the equipment that we use that have specific requirements. 430 is motors, 440 is air conditioners and refrigeration equipment, 445 is generators. You have your transformers. Article 450 is transformers. You got phase converters, capacitors, resistors, and reactors. So, and I have these flagged because I have something tagged inside. You have switches, you have fixture wires. These two here puzzle me. I don't know. What do you guys and gals think about? Should that be in a Chapter 3? Why is it in Chapter 4? I just don't get why it's in Chapter 4. But anyway. All right, so let's go back to the comments here. I need to see those. There it is. Okay. And Kawasaki, yes, but does TCER need to be in a TC and exit a TC? Well, that is so let's think about that. TCER. Where would you expect? I would expect to find the requirements in Chapter 3 for TCER. And if you go to Chapter 3, I would go to Article 336. I'd go to Article 336 that deals with TC cables, and then I would search Control F, TCE-ER. There it is. So there, the cable is type TCR between a cable tray and utilization equipment or devices, provided all the following apply. The cable is type TCR. The cable is installed in industrial establishments. The cable is continuously supported. The cable complies with the crush and impact requirements, etc., etc. Okay? It has to be marked with all that. So you could go to this article for 1 and 2 family dwelling units, type TCER JP. Cable containing conductors for both power and control circuits shall be permitted for branch circuits and feeders. Oh my gosh. Type TCER JP cable used as interior wiring shall be installed per the requirements in Part 2 of Article 334, and where installed as exterior wiring shall be installed per the requirements of Part 2 of Article 340. So there are provisions in Chapter 3 on how to properly apply TCER cable for those applications. So you see the navigation, the process to determine the location of where the requirements may be for what you are. Look at look at that. Woo, I can go in and out. Look at that. Oh boy. So you can find the location for where those requirements are. Michael Hofkin says SOOW shall not be used in place of permanent wiring. And David Hoffman. Michael Hofkin, where would you find that at? SOOW and capacity tables. That's in Article 400. There's the types. If I search the entire code, the only place I find is in Article 400. So where is the prohibition of, what would be your code reference, Michael, for SOOW not being able to be used? And I would, my argument would probably be 400 where's 400.10 and 400.12. That's what I would go to. Because if I come to 400.4, SOOW, I'm hoping, is in that. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. SOOW is in. Yes, it is. It's in table 400.4, and because it's in table 400.4 as a flexible coordinate cable, your code reference to tell you that you can't put this in permanent wiring is 400.12. Use is not permitted. Make sense? Piece of cake. Once you understand, once you get the flavor of how to narrow in on the equipment, how to narrow in and identify which articles, then you start digging in a little bit further. But a lot of your journey has to be to identify what it is you're talking about. Yummy fudge. We need more education. Just always. Yes. Just Always. I'm not sure if you were going to complete that. If it's considered field wiring in the instructions, then the NEC applies, except if the instructions provide specifications. Otherwise, it's part of the listing, and we install as specified. I agree with you, Steve. 118.673%. All right, David Williams in the house. The 2029 code will likely add an Annex A. Yes. Annex A. Annex A is going to be a very important article. An annex, not article. It's going to be very important for usability, in my opinion. 400.21.5. I mean, we've just like honed in on. I should have called this one fixture wire, or flexible cords and cables. But 400.21 paren 5. 400.21 paren 5? I don't have a paren 5. 400.21 in the 2023 code is construction, and there's no paren 5. So, sorry, Yummy, I'm not sure what section or what code edition you're looking at. Andrew Casney in the house. You guys and gals don't know how lucky we are. Is the mini split cable considered communications cable, not power? Andrew, here's what I think, Andrew. I'm going to give you my opinion, which is worth absolutely nothing. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. Because you know why? No one else can talk. I believe there's power and communications in that conductor. In fact, I believe there is power and communications. I think that's my gut. Because you have to power the outside unit. So it's going to have a voltage. It's going to have 120 or 240 or whatever it is. 121, 122, whatever it takes. And there's probably additional conductors in there that tell the unit to turn on and off and all that good stuff. So I could argue that is either communications or control. When I think of communications, Andrew, I think of like protocols. Anything that's a protocol. That's sort of where I'm in my head. That's what I immediately did think of. If you said communication, then I would think there's a protocol involved, either Modbus, or it could be a protocol. Could simply be that when I close this contact and open the contact, this is what it means. But in any case, I would say I think it's a mixture. Michael Hofkin might be able to add more to that. Which Michael Hofkin says, hey there, Kawasaki, 336.10.9 allows TC cable in 1 and 2 family dwelling units. Yes, it does. In Z formation, it does. Yes. But it has to have that JP at the end. And I'm not sure what the JP means, but just, I don't know. TCER, just put it in. I don't know. JP has to be at the end. The cable that was provided was listed on the cable was SJO something in the table, so power, in my opinion, Andrew. Oh, okay. Labeled and not listed. Yeah, so you would have to really look to determine whether it's a communications or not. You'd have to look at what are the conductors that are inside. I've seen some conductors where there's the power conductor and communications. The insulation all has to be the same voltage rating, all that jazz, but that's all covered by the standard. But it depends. Yummy Fudge, labeled, not listed. Oh, good catch. Whoop. Yummy Fudge says, thank you for bringing up switches. Glad to hear some of these changes are coming. Yeah, Yummy, we are moving some stuff around, or someone's moving stuff around. Joseph Violi, thank you for joining. Good afternoon. He may be late, but he is worth the wait. We're going to have to start all over from the beginning again. We got around having to call it a fixture because the code only requires the installation of lighting outlet. Okay. So, Dawn, we still have that term fixture in there. So is it fixture or is it not fixture? Is it luminaire? Am I wrong? Because I've been corrected. I've been corrected at IAEI meetings. I called something a fixture, a lighting fixture. And they said, nope, that's not a fixture. That's a luminaire. Like, okay. And they explained that we got rid of that term not too many cycles ago. So I'd love to know what the right term is. Can I still call it a fixture? Or do I have to call it a luminaire? 29? I'll be 61 in 29. 29. I'm not sure where the 29 came from. Nope. They say follow the code like a big circle referencing itself back and forth. Interesting, yummy. The cord is not listed with the equipment for mini splits. Michael Hofkin. See that? This is good. Man, this is good stuff. So the cord in between the mini splits. So we're jumping back and forth from luminaire, fixture, whatever you want to call it, over to a mini split. Now we're back over to the mini splits, and the mini split cord is not listed with the equipment. Now I wonder. I believe that it is shipped with the equipment. Mini split. I see okay. So here's I just did a Google. Oh no, that's not a cord. Oh yeah, there is a cord. I see a cord, but I think that cord is probably used for powering the unit, not between the unit. I don't know what that. No, it looks like it is between the units. So we have Maryville, Tennessee, in the house. I'm not answering the call, but I want to get this so that I'm not showing the prices. All right, so here we go. When I look online. This is the stuff that comes with a mini split, and there's this black thing down here, which I think is a cord. I mean, it's got ends, and it looks flexible. I can't read the marking on there. I see STW. Man, I wish I could read that a little bit better. But that's the stuff that they show coming with this specific unit. So Michael is saying that cord is not listed with it, so then that would mean you need to follow the NEC requirements. Because and remember too, the installation instructions from the manufacturer, typically what we say in 110.03b, it's the installation instructions that are accompanied based on the standard. So Don Ganir says, whoa, wait a second. The mini split has been cleared for takeoff. Yes, it has. Michael, I did not know the cord was not part of the listing. And Yummy Fudge says, yeah, in the mini splits, often it may come with a labeled and listed cable, but the instructions don't say what to use. They just reference, look at the code. Interesting. I think I got to get somebody from the HVAC industry on and talk about mini splits. Maybe that's a good future program for IAEI News Live. Yummy Fudge says, I hate Link. You hate Link. I think it's a great product, but anyone that follows the Adobe model and moves everything to a subscription and can't buy digital. Yeah, Yummy, I'm feeling the anguish and pain with regard to the Adobe. Oh yeah, we just went through that. I love the Adobe products. I use them. I use InDesign. I use Premiere Pro. I use Adobe Illustrator. all those tools, but I am paying a subscription. So, but the good thing is when a new code comes out, you don't have to buy a new book. It's there. And it's not just the code. It's everything NFPA brings to the market. I'm telling you, there is value there. Dawn Gannier, but the use of TCER in dwellings requires that the cable has both power and control conductors. But there's no requirement to use the control conductors, so I can use TCER in place of NM. You know what? I'll bet, Dawn, it's probably a lot more expensive, and you probably wouldn't. But, yeah, you could. Yummy Fudge. Oh, man, we're over 106. 412, but look at Part 4 in the exception. I'm not going to have time to do that. SOOW and other courts. Oh, my goodness, look at all this. 400.12 use is not permitted unless specifically permitted in 400.10. Flexible cords, flexible cables, and cord sets. Power supply cords shall not be used for the following. One as a suitable, yes, suitable for the, and whatever. Michael Huff, fixed wiring of the structure. Exceptions in both 400.12, 4, and 5. Yes, there are. Boy, look at this. We're going through. What you're learning is you're seeing in this chat the journey of understanding the application of the code for specific general equipment. And I love the dialogue. I love the whole part breaks my brain. I love it. I love it. That is so funny. Just pull test. Just pull. The JP just pull test. It's a just pull test. So you got to make sure you pull it and it can withstand the pull tests. All right. Guess what? I am 7 minutes over. I loved this dialogue. Yummy Fudge, thank you for chiming in. I've got to run too. I have a steak waiting for me, and I've got to eat lunch, and probably be on another meeting, which I'm probably 7 minutes late for. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Thanks for what you do for the electrical industry, for electrical safety, for IAEI. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to become an IAEI member and enjoy the benefits that IAEI has to offer. So very important to be a part of the IAEI community. All right. Thank you. I will see you next week. I think next week I am going to be at the IEEE Electrical Safety Workshop. Thank you, Michael Hofkin. Look forward to see the Benjamin Franklin chapter in March. So looking forward to that. Absolutely. And Dawn Gannier, I can't thank you enough. You are an endless resource, just as everybody else is, but you guys and gals are awesome. Thank you for everything and making IAEI successful. All right, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go grab a bite, and I hope you do the same. Next week, I'll be at the IEEE Electrical Safety Workshop, and I should be able to go live from the workshop. Maybe you'll see me and Nihad El Sharif together live on IAEI. See ya. Oh, locate file. I think I lost my file. Stinger? I love this stuff. Where is it at? Okay, hold on, guys. I think I moved my file. Shocking truth. IAEI logo. All right. I am taking off. There's no video. Thanks, Joseph.